Hello, Taurus. Welcome to the Divine Dojo. I am so glad to have you here. I'm going to be doing your reading for the week of April 28th through May 4th, which I think is Sunday. So let's get started. I'm just going to use a little tuning fork to clear the energy of, I just did the collective and Aries reading, so we're just going to clear it. Hopefully you guys can hear it here in YouTube land. As we know, time and space is fake. I mean, it's here because we have 3D bodies, but technically we all connected. So I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We just had the new moon in your sign, which is probably one of the most powerful new moons of the year, because of all the energies that were aspecting it. So it feels like the page is finally turning in a book that, you know, we've just been stuck on that one page. You know how, like, when, I don't know about you, but for me, when I read, I literally can read the paragraph sometimes like 10 times and still not get it, you know, because usually I'm reading in bed, which is not the most ideal, and I'm like falling asleep. So it kind of feels like that energy, like that you know, you're reading and you fall asleep, you're reading, you know, we've been in that stagnant energy, I would say, since my birthday, November 19th. When Pluto went into Aquarius, and then just all of these retrogrades happened, and then we had the eclipses and everything. So this is the first week that we have nothing retrograded, except on the 4th. You know, the Pluto does go into retrograde. Luckily, it's not a personal planet. It's a transpersonal planet, but it's still Pluto, and it still goes deep and into the underworld. So more things will be coming up, shadowy things, you know, as we see with the collective in the world, that shit's popping off all over the place. So more of that to come. All right, so let's get started. So yeah, like I said, breakthrough new moon, beautiful new moon. What else? Venus will ingress into Aries. It's not a sign that it really loves, but it gives us more of an oomph. And a big thing, big focus on will be on relationships. This next, when it, you know, Venus is in Aries, because Venus has to deal with relationships. And in your sign, which it likes, it's more about, you know, the luxurious things, the human things, you know, the five senses. And it loves to indulge maybe a little bit too much, but in your sign. But in Aries, it's more about relationships, but also the relationship with ourselves, which is the most important relationship we will ever have, right? So yeah, it has to do with creative inspiration, love, beauty, personal identity, self-worth, especially Taurus. Taurus deals with self-worth issues. So yeah, we're just gonna tap in and connect spirit, pull some cards, see what's going on for the week of April 28th through May 4th for our beautiful Taurian people. I love Taurus. It's my opposite sign, so it's always you know, to master life is to master your opposing sign, your opposite sign. And you know, I love the more of the negative aspects of Taurus. Like, not negative, it's not that it, you know, it's negative, but you know, in Taurus likes to indulge in things maybe it shouldn't too much. But it's about money, which I love. You're more of your own money and your own prosperity, and then my sign is more about, you know, other people's money. So yeah, so my goal in life, or not my goal, but my one of my things to transmute in this life is, you know, dealing with wealth. So So yeah, that's one of the things that I came here to transmute and basically be wealthy. Well, we're there-ish, you know. So we got Temperance, the King of Wands, the Knight of Wands, what is this one? Oh, the Five of Cups in reverse, which is good. You know, that Five of Cups is always like, oh, looking at what we lost or longing for something that, you know, we think we didn't get. But as they say, it's not, when something doesn't happen and a redirection happens, it's for our own good. And then the Chariot, which is what I said, right now we have no planets in retrograde, so it's go time, Cancerian energy. A lot of Cancer and fire energy, which is great. So then we have lastly the Two of Cups, but in reverse. So this tells me this week of this, it's a lot of harmony. It's a lot of your energy, actually. It's like taking steps. You know, the Knight of Wands knows what, it's a natural leader. And so this has to deal with Scorpio and Sag. It could be like, the Knight of Wands is definitely entrepreneurial. It's looking at the big picture of things. Definitely someone who can lead others. And then this Knight is perfect, you know, following that King of Wands, excuse me, because this one puts everything into action. So like the King of Wands is about putting a plan together, and then the Knight of Wands is, you know, one to execute that plan. So it's actually, they're in harmony with each other. And it's about taking an inspired action as well. And then in the middle, in the middle of the deck, we have, like I said, the Five of Cups. It's, you know, it's accepting when life redirects us, right? It's just surrendering, you know. Maybe things didn't go your way, Taurus. Maybe you've been dealing, I don't have a ton of relationship cards besides the Two of Cups, and that is reverse. Maybe you've been having disharmony in your relationships, or maybe a relationship didn't pan out, or maybe there's some arguing or something going on in the relationships. And again, with that Venus, all the Venus aspects that we've been going through, and then previously having the North Node in Libra, I've seen a lot of relationships coming to a head, either shifting or breaking on or moving on or solidifying more of a relationship with people. And this could be, you know, probably career too, instead of more of a relationship. But, you know, this is a collective reading, so a general reading for the Taurians out there. So it's not all going to resonate with everybody. But yeah, it's just accepting, you know, sometimes shit happens and, you know, we can't dwell on it too long. So we have to move on. You know, it's forgiving ourselves for maybe things didn't pan out. And keep in mind, Taurus, that we've, like I said before, since like November 19th, we've had these energies that the whole collective has been wanting to move forward, especially from everything from 2020. We're just all ready to fucking move on, right? But but the universe is like, no, hold up. You got to take care of the relationships, the job you hate, the, you know, what is not in alignment with you and your soul. And it's time to, you know, really look at those things and move on from them. You know, it's time to really reconcile with ourselves, like, okay, which relationships do I want to put my energy and efforts to? Which relationships actually give back to me? What is beneficial for me? And also, you know, what we're putting out there in our relationships too. So it's just a matter of taking the time to, whether it's relationships, and apply this to relationships, career, or home. I don't see too much of a home stuff going on, but more definitely of taking actions and getting into balance and harmony with ourselves, and, you know, really reaching for our goals and jumping into our purpose. Now is the time. So what, you know, seemed impossible is quite possible now, especially with this opening that we have this week. The next couple of weeks moving here from basically now until June, we're going to be having some really good aspects to move forward in our life, especially because most of the collective has been feeling stuck, and the energies were stuck in a way. So, and the planets are, and excuse me, my gardeners are doing gardening today, so you might hear some noise, so I apologize for that. Anyhow, it's time to move on. It's movement, progress, action, integration, determination, willpower, control, direction, courage. It's having the courage, right? And then your sign has to do a lot of, has to deal with a lot of self-worth. You know, that's what Taurus in general deals with. So it's about giving yourself grace. It's about giving yourself love and a compassion in whatever it is that you're, you know, dealing with right now. We'll get some clarifiers for that, but good overall. It's looking really nice and beautiful. So let's pull some clarifiers. I'd like to see which, because all the minor cards basically, you have the two major arcanas, the Temperance and the Chariot, but which were upright, and then the King of Wands and Knight of Wands, which were upright as well. So the only two cards that were reversed were the Two of Cups and the Five of Cups. You know, so more of that emotional energy, and maybe it's just you're stuck in your emotions. You know, so we'll clarify that. Can we clarify? And there goes my dog. She's about to go bark at the gardeners. Always drama on Monday. Let's clarify the Five of Cups and the Two of Cups, Spirit. Interesting. So a couple of cards came out, and we'll take them. I mean, yeah, you got the Eight of Swords. Maybe it's definitely your thoughts and emotions that are holding you back from moving forward in this next chapter of your life. Because the Eight of Swords, you know, she thinks she's bound and stuck and all of that, but she really isn't stuck. You know, she's just having that victim mentality of being stuck in her head. You know, it's more mental than anything. And then we have the Emperor, you know, which is more of that Aries energies, which we have coming in. We have most of the planets moving in from transferring or moving into masculine signs from feminine signs. So there's going to be a lot of fire and air this year. So, you know, the Emperor upright, it's like somebody has respect, leadership. It's time to take the leadership in your own life. You know, it's like that father figure. It's that stable, grounded, rooted person that Taurians can be too. And then we have the High Priestess. The Emperor was reversed, so maybe that's kind of the challenge. You don't feel like you're a leader. You don't feel rooted. You don't feel that you have those leadership skills within you, but you definitely do. And then we have the High Priestess in reverse, which is Pisces energy. And that is, you know, your intuition. But with it being reversed, it could be like a hidden agenda, or maybe somebody has a hidden agenda, or you have a hidden agenda, secrets, disconnected from your intuition. But we do have the Lovers upright. So, this is interesting. Is it Lovers too doesn't necessarily, I mean, obviously is about relationships. Oh, it's going to get crazy here for a second. My dog's got to go wild. Let's see if he goes away. He sometimes goes away. But yeah, the Lovers has to do with like love, harmony, relationships, obviously. But it's also a choice. It's decision, you know. It's choosing. So maybe, you know, the negative thoughts and negative emotions, you know, while it might be the negative thoughts and negative emotions, it seems like it's more mental than anything. And it's time to make a choice, you know, to get out of that mental kind of strife and the emotional strife, and definitely move forward with more of this, you know, Emperor energy, and then like this King of Wands energy, taking a more balanced approach and not being in our head and emotions so much. Yeah, so that's what it is. I don't see it specifically to a relationship, but, you know, take it as you will. Whatever resonates with you in your reading, everybody's going to be different, and it's going to land differently with, you know, with everyone, since it's a general reading. So let's just go into the singles and relationships cards. Well, that one flew, so interesting. That one, fixing them, came up, flew out. So I don't know if you're trying to fix somebody else or fix a situation. Really, nobody can be fixed, you know, like unless they want the help or want to help themselves, nobody can really be fixed, you know. They just have to choose to fix themselves, not, you know, everybody is on their own time of, you know, evolution, and maybe it's time to move on from those relationships that aren't giving to you or being reciprocal to you, whether that be, you know, a lover, a parent, you know, not that you like don't talk to your parents anymore, but you know what I mean, like putting some boundaries up and, you know, voicing your needs, and yeah, and it could be a job, you know, it needs to be reciprocal. You need to be getting paid what you, not a lot of coins out here either, like not one single coin. It's all wands, but, you know, a lot of major arcana. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana. And they're all great ones, you know. We have the Chariot, the Emperor, the Lovers, the High Priestess, and then Temperance. So to me, that just says, you know, there's a lot of great energy here, but maybe the emotions and our thoughts are kind of weighing us down. So, and it is your birthday season, so, you know, that could be on your mind too. Getting older, nobody loves, you know, getting older, but whatevers. I personally love my birthday. So, so this is interesting. So what we got is staying stuck. You keep repeating old patterns. It's time to try something new. Interesting. And then love sucks. You have stopped believing in love. Let yourself heal so you can be open again. And then it says playing games. You don't need to play games to keep the right one interested in you. True. I've learned that lesson the hard way. You know, but that comes with age. And it says being guarded. You are lonely because you are so aloof. Trust others and let them into your heart. And then eye candy. Maybe you're being superficial. Maybe they're being superficial, or, you know, what have you. It says beauty fades. Choose someone for their inner beauty and personality. Yep. So let's pull. I'm going to pull. Hopefully that clarified that. Didn't seem like too much of a relationship, but it could be just like relationships in general all over the place. It could be like, you know, in your work, in your home, in your, I got too many. So I'm gonna pull one more. This more to me is about not being tapped in, not, with your intuition, and not being that leader that, you could be. Yeah, I'm going to take this. It's interesting. So we got the desert, and this kind of reminds me of these two cards of like love sucks, being guarded, staying stuck, not seeing, you have this hand here in the desert that's all by itself. And that's what happens when you're guarded, right? You end up, you don't let people in, and then they get bored of it, and, then they move on, right? So that reminds me of that. And then the mirror is one of my favorite ones because it just has us look at ourselves, and to really dig deep and say, ask ourselves the hard questions like, are we happy in this relationship? Or am I happy in this relationship? Am I happy in this job? Am I happy where I live? Am I happy with my friends? Am I, all of those questions. Is just time to take a good look at ourselves and what stories are we telling ourselves this week? And how can we change the stories and, tap in more into our intuition and be less guarded and, take more inspired action, become more of that leader in our lives that we choose to be, with the King of Wands and, the Emperor being there as well. It was reversed, but how can we take some action towards, not feeling that way? Because it seems more emotional. And then, of course, then we have the underworld, which is that Pluto Scorpionic card. Again, it's kind of similar to the mirror. It's time to like dig deep into our shadow. Maybe some shadow work is needed into, our belief systems, into our self-worth as well. Like, why aren't you, why are you thinking that love sucks? Why are you so guarded? Why are you staying stuck? To me, it seems like it's more emotional and mental. So, we got to really think about the stories that we're telling ourselves, because those stories become our reality, right? If we feel a certain way and we keep, telling ourselves that we suck, or love sucks, and, why can't they be different, blah, 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 then you're going to get more of that. That's basically how, that's the rule. That's the manifestation rule. That's the law of attraction. That's all of that, right? Where your attention goes, energy flows. So, our heads are the worst. Our minds are the worst. It's the most beautiful thing, and it's also the most horrible thing, because our minds can just keep us trapped in loops and stuff, for a while, but sometimes even for some people for decades, or they never get out of the mental loop or emotional loop that they keep telling themselves and don't see a way out. Well, you don't see a way out because you're not changing your thoughts, right? So there's that. So now I'm going to pull the Akashic Oracle cards and just see what comes up. Man, Taurus, I hope, happy birthday, by the way, but I hope like this isn't, you're not stuck. Nobody's stuck. Interesting. Shame. You've carried this card came out a couple of times. It says, you've carried this burden for too long. It's time to release the guilt you've placed on yourself and start a new chapter in your life. Set a new goal and begin taking action towards happiness. Yeah, so all of this like mental, emotional struggle. I mean, none of the cards are really all that bad, but there's something underneath that, maybe you're not facing with that mirror card, and maybe some shadow work needs to be done here. It seems like that's the case with shame, right? And working on that self-worth. I'm going to pull one more of those because I just love those. So 2 more came out. So maybe you're not speaking your truth. So it says, speak your truth. You've stayed silent long enough. Speak up and stand your ground and state your perspectives. You will rise to a higher vibration when you let your voice be heard. Very powerful. And then this one reminds me of, bravery. It says, you're being asked to make a tough decision that you've been putting off because of fear, which is understandable, but you do have the strength and bravery to make this decision, and you will feel much lighter when you do. And maybe that's that heaviness, right? That mental heaviness that we carry with us. Is being brave and, talking about it and being that, leader and taking the action, then you become this, like, with with that compassionate lover energy, then you become, the emperor, somebody who's like steady, balanced, and rooted. So hopefully that is helpful. I'm going to pull an angel number for you, and then we'll be done with your reading. Thank you. 2020, compassion. It says mercy, diplomacy, potential, service, healing, adaptability, and renewal. Your beliefs and assumptions are validating, showing that you are on the right path. Embrace your talents and gifts, using them to benefit both the world and your own prosperity. Serve others with kindness and generosity, as your potential is boundless. Yeah, like I said, Spirit doesn't lie, and 2020 is a number, so you might be seeing 2020. If not, you're seeing it now. Yeah, it's just moving forward in a balanced and compassionate way towards yourself mainly, but also towards other, and making decisions and standing tall and, taking inspired action. This is a great week for that. So yeah, I think that overall it's a good reading. It's just maybe, a lot of maybe emotions and you being in your head that you have to kind of take care of this or deal with this week, and maybe doing some mirror work and shadow work and standing and just figuring out, like, what's the root of the problem or the issue that you think you have. I'm not saying we don't have problems, it's not, we all have problems, but mostly when we ruminate and have it go into a loop in our head over and over and over again, we just can't see our way out of the problem. So let me just pull one last card. Just a little takeaway, and then that'll be it. So yeah, Taurus, I hope you are having, if you are celebrating this week, a beautiful birthday week. And yeah, I wish you nothing but the best. It's, again, overall a great reading, and just need to look at yourself a little bit and, get some clarity and move through some stuff. And it says, I find a deeper meaning and personal growth amid the discomfort. Yeah. So it all ties in. All right, Taurus, that was your reading. I hope this helped in one way or another. If it did not resonate, maybe look at your rising or moon sign. All right. Thank you. Have a great week.